And yes, I think it's very, very important we will all be working together on responding to climate change and on sustainability into the future. And we can do it together, and we should do it together. And I think as well, the great challenges facing us, Anna May mentioned about the production of food. We have to feed. There will be 10 billion people on this planet in 2050. They will need to be fed. But there is no reason for them to be fed in a way that challenges the existence of the planet itself. We are able to solve these contradictions, and we will be able to do so if science and technology is used properly. And also as well if we are willing to change our practices. And I have to say, in many, many ways, I really want to pay tribute to that more than 30,000 farmers who are... And yes, I think it's very, very important we will all be working together on responding to climate change and on sustainability into the future. And we can do it together, and we should do it together. And I think as well, the great challenges facing us, Anna May mentioned about the production of food. We have to feed. There will be 10 billion people on this planet in 2050. They will need to be fed. But there is no reason for them to be fed in a way that challenges the existence of the planet itself. We are able to solve these contradictions, and we will be able to do so if science and technology is used properly. And also as well if we are willing to change our practices. And I have to say, in many, many ways, I really want to pay tribute to that more than 30,000 farmers who are with difficulties that came down on us after 2008. But beyond any use of the word sector, the word farm family is important. And the family farm means much more. It is something that has often been passed through generations, and I think, let's be clear about it all, I want us to go forward now with a very positive message. And let us say from all the conflicts and everything, we've learned a lot now, and we know how to do things better, and we'll be able to discuss with each other how to do things even better in the future. If you see a great program succeeding, like for example the Burden scheme, that came into being and is successful because people met each other with respect and discussed it and saw how you could combine the benefits of tradition with the new demands, and you could prepare for the future. And there are many, many other ways in which we're doing that. But sometimes people as well must think, I think, maybe it's important to emphasize that it isn't only about what you're actually doing in terms of working on the farm itself. Beyond the farm and the villages and towns of rural Ireland, people in fact are keeping a way of life alive. And also there is such a thing as the contribution that is made to the public good. Some people produce something and it is consumed. But what you do in relation to the earth and the management and so forth of land, it is there as your legacy and your contribution. And people will remember, in fact, how you looked after it and how you were husbands in it. So therefore, I have every confidence. And I'm very much looking forward to meeting the people in the stands that I meet every year. And I know I often say things that are very important, things that we can produce. But the one thing that is, I think, very, very important is this. Sometimes when I've been speaking this weekend about national biodiversity, about all we're losing in relation to national biodiversity, nobody knows that other than the people who put their hand on the earth every day, the people who are near the bushes and the hedgerows, the people who know when in fact actually species are disappearing, be it insects or bird life and mammals. And I want to ask the farming community, what you do is that you go to the head of the race to keep sustainability and to respond to climate change, because you are people who know it better than others. I also stand properly. And we must, let's be very clear as well, people must be willing to pay for rural Ireland. They must make it possible for people in rural Ireland to have services that enable them to participate in society with an equal citizenship. And I do think something that is very, very important to me and for a long time, and as I've already said and I'll say no more on this topic, is a person who may have only one purchaser. I've been concerned about the vulnerability of the rural producer and the person who in fact has actually, as I have said, the person who really needs protection. They need transparency, protection, and a fair system. The word fair was there in the campaign for fair rent. So let us now have fair produce, fair treatment for everybody involved, and let's move on from that. And the best beginning, and go on and build on that. I know as well these are challenging times for us all, because nobody more than the farming sector, north and south on this island, know the benefit of the Good Friday Agreement. And therefore I can tell you, I very much know that governments and oppositions and others are absolutely really concerned that the benefits that have flowed to the people are talking about global challenges, European challenges, Brexit. But what we're here to do is to celebrate all those who broke the ploughing, and all those who have continued farming, and all those who care for their neighbours, and all those who know that whatever challenges are thrown up to the rural people of Ireland, and all those not just the rural people of Ireland. As I've said, no one is that far from it. But this is a great, great opportunity of urban and rural coming together and celebrating the Irishness that we have in common. Ber buagas banach, when chan of us on Flelia, August, it's such a great pleasure to me in just a few moments to cut the ribbon and declare open the 88th National Ploughing Championships. Berbanach, Mr.
President, Managing Director, as MP Chairman, it's my great honour to welcome you all here, and I can see that you're here in big crowds, to the opening of the 88th National Ploughing Championship here in Ballantrae, Finner, County Carlow. There will be spectacular ploughing taking place over the next 3 days on 200 acres of land, hundreds of competitors, and I would strongly recommend a visit to the ploughing sites because the soil is in perfect condition for ploughing from the wonderful weather we're having. So
assessment board, we have a CE mark and they have plans to develop a UK CA mark, okay? And that UK CA mark, they are saying for the moment that they will recognise the CE mark for a limited period of time, but we cannot say what that's going to be. So if you are an Irish manufacturer and you are exporting to the UK in the future, that will be of concern, because if your market is the UK, you would have to have the UK CE mark in time, and you would have to then liaise with a UK notified body. What they are doing is that as soon as the 31st of October comes, and the 178 notified bodies in the UK are no longer part of the EU system, which is NANDO.
As west of the city, I come from a small farm, dairy farm in Gypsy, which is just on the banks of the River Lee. So I would be very much aware of the challenges that farmers face and have faced over a long number of years in relation to a number of issues. In relation to dairy farming, I suppose the big issue there is it's a 7-day-a-week job. It's not something that you can go away and take time out, and it's very much a challenge and a very demanding job. And the important thing is about families working together in delivering a very good quality product. And in the whole area at the moment in relation to beef, it is a huge challenge because the costs have gone up but the price hasn't. And I know there's been a lot of discussion in this.
The whitethorn is not a dangerous tree.
Yes.
If there was one of those, you would still have flowers in every hedgerow.
Right.
So there is no excuse that there wouldn't be some flowers. Now sometimes you may be able to leave more than others, but in every single hedgerow, when you're cutting it, at least 1.5 metres high, and leave a flowering thorn.
Okay, Catherine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I think John Casey is going to join me.
Interested in trees.
Right.
They're interested in woodland. Forestry, they're more ambivalent. It depends.
Okay.
One of the big issues is it's a permanent land use change.
Yeah.
And this can be, well, not off-putting. Certainly, they need to walk and talk it through before they make the final decision.
So if they're interested in woodland, is there the potential for practically every farmer to maybe plant some woodland on their farm? Maybe a small corner or a small area?
Well, what I would say is that every farm has an area that is probably marginal agricultural land, right, that isn't doing quite so well and has the potential to carry woodland.
Okay.
Now, of course, you can plant better quality land as well, but you have to weigh that up against what the optimum land use is. But I would say practically every farm has wet areas, they have corners that aren't suitable for large-scale modern machinery. There's a capacity and scope there. It doesn't have to be very large woodland. It could be, it doesn't have to be a forest, but it could be, 3 or 4 corners together, fencing them off, planting something like that, and have a grove of trees might be an option as well.
And can the farmer do that himself or herself? Certainly you can.
Program with the EPA called Stop Food Waste. Most households in Ireland throw out between 700 and 1,000 euros worth of food every year. Now, I don't know about you lot, but I certainly don't have 1,000 euro to throw in the bin. I'd rather go and buy a pair of shoes and have a holiday, maybe get my hair done, buy a new pair of jeans, whatever you're into, get a new carpet. But that's what we're actually doing. It works out on average that we're throwing 1,000 euro worth of food waste into the bin. Now, some of it is avoidable, so the likes of your plate scrapings, or if you look at your carrots, like nowadays, I know when I was growing up, carrots looked like this, and they had muck on them, and they were very tasty, and you get them a scrub, and you barely peel the top of it, and you fired it in, and it was tasty, very nutritious. Nowadays, because of the regulations, if
we're looking at all the brands from one of the great shopping centres, of course, the shopping centre. We love them for their born clothing, for their textile.
From their texture and the textiles, because they really have a great range.
They have Tesco, and of course Carrickdown, which we're going to be showing.
And I know, Celia, very often you kind of think of Tesco, you kind of think more grocery oriented.